Hey guys, what's going on? Absolutely Beast here, bringing you 3 games today. I was just going to bring you 2 like usual, but these were like the first 3 games I played, so I figured, why not? Haven't been doing it that well recently, so I think all these games I go right around 2.0 kill death. I get about twice as many kills as death, so I figured why not put them all up. But I cut out the dead space in between. I don't want to, just ruin the time with all that time fluff in the middle. So, first things first, I have to make a correction. I said something in my video the other day, which said that they nerfed the bar 3 times. That was inaccurate. It was what I had heard a few days ago was actually a rumor, and you know what? It was told to me that way, and I just spaced it and wasn't thinking. But what it was a rumor that the bar was going to be nerfed. So they have nerfed the bar twice, though. They nerfed it initially to bring it more in line with what was happening in the game, and then they've nerfed it a second time, which I don't think they really understand how these things work, because it's just like anything in life. If the gun is overused and whatever else, that doesn't necessarily mean it's overpowered. That just means that if all the guns were balanced, which they probably are. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the bar was really good. I used it a lot, and it did need maybe a slight nerf, maybe. But really, the problem is not that there's multiple. Not that they need to nerf it multiple times, and not even that the bar is that overpowered, but more so that the bar, if all the guns are an 8, the bar might be like an 8.5. But the problem is that suits people's playstyle one way or the other. So it's always this way with like submachine guns and stuff. They always end up saying these types of things, and it's just because they're because some of them are overused. So if 2 guns are equal and one suits the playstyle of the community more than the other one, then of course people are going to use one more than the other one. For example, the FG42 or any of the LMGs. I haven't really talked about those too much. FG42 they did nerf and they did buff like the Bren LMG, but really it's more about like those guns are not used in a playstyle the way the bar is used, because the bar is like an assault rifle and it's going to be used for a little more mobile player. So of course there's going to be a lot of people using it, and in a game like this, it's a little bit slower. Of course there'll be more people that want to use a gun like that. Not as many submachine gun users in this game. So my point is, it may or may not have needed to be nerfed the first time. I feel like it was, it probably was acceptable that they nerfed it the first time. Because, it was pretty powerful. It was one that I used, and I feel like, anyone who's used the bar in a previous game, the bar usually is a real slow shooting gun. Now, I actually did come to learn through watching a video on YouTube, Hickok45, if any of you guys know who he is. He was shooting a bar, and he actually said that something I didn't know, which the bar actually has 2 firing modes. So there's a slow mode, which is for more accurate shooting, and then there's a rapid fire mode. Now, I can't imagine that's any good with a 20-round magazine, but I felt like that was sort of the balance of the VAR in the first place, was that it had a 20-round mag. And so, even though it shot fairly fast, and you could get guys... The thing for me was, the bar was really good at medium range. It was really good at long range if you single bursted it. Bursted? Did I just say that? Man, I gotta go back to school. If you single burst it, it does really well at long range. And then also at close range, though, it actually was pretty decent at close range because it had such a high fire rate. Not as high as like the STG, but the fire rate was just high enough that you could get guys, out of breathe. How many guys are over there? You could just get it at, you could just get people at close range just barely, because it had, I'd be red screened a lot, let's say. That's a good way of putting it. Like, I'd get red screened a bunch when I was using that gun, but I usually could kill guys at close range. So I felt like it was pretty balanced, but they nerfed it the first time. They, reduced the fire rate, which actually made the gun, not as... It took away the close range of the gun for sure, and then it left the medium and the long range. That's fine. But now, the second time they've nerfed it again. They increased the recoil, which is just... so here's the issue, right? So here's what I was trying to get at. I know I've been long-winded already trying to explain this, but when a gun like that is, like I said, I thought it was pretty well balanced. It might have been an 8.5 if all the other guns were 8s. So if they nerf it slightly, here's what happens. They nerf it, and they say they nerf it, and then everybody who wasn't using it is like, man, that gun must have been really good. And then they go and they try it. And so what was already a gun that could be classified as, quote, overused, now becomes really overused. Because everybody's like, oh man, it got nerfed, it must be so good, I'm going to go out and try it. And so they did. And what caused from that is then you hear everybody saying, oh, everyone's using the bar. And then they really were, everyone was using the bar because they nerfed it, which gave it notoriety that it didn't have in the first place. It was just, you know, it was a gun that, like, was pretty good. But I didn't feel like it was overused. I mean, you know, it was at that point stage in the game where people had reached the end of the zero prestige, and they were unlocking that gun and they were using it, and then they had a free token to spend when they prestige, so they were unlocking it. So there were some higher level guys that were using it because they knew how good it was, but it wasn't like every single person was rolling with the bar all the time. So I don't really know where that came from. So check out how. Oh, this wasn't even mine. Never mind. Yeah. So. I mean, I don't know, but they nerfed it a second time, and I don't think that was necessary at all. I think they now gutted the gun, so now if all the other guns are still an 8, I feel like the bar is now like a 7.5 or even a 7. So it's now at the point where, like, people wouldn't use it. Like, if you were blind testing all the guns, if you didn't know anything about what guns people used, and you didn't know anything about how powerful and popular certain guns were or were not, you wouldn't pick the bar because it's not balanced on the level with the other assault rifles, and that's the issue they're going to run into here. Is that, you know, people will outrage over almost anything. So of course they're going to outrage and say the bar's overpowered, and then when you nerf it, of course there's going to be people that still say it's overpowered, and then the other half are going to say it's underpowered now. So the second nerf is more a reaction to people's reaction. So the first thing is there was this gut reaction that people had, this gut wrench reaction of like, oh, the bar's overpowered. And so then they nerf it because everybody complains about it. And once people start complaining, and here's the thing in the first place, once people start complaining about a gun being overpowered, then people start jumping on the bandwagon. So from the time that people realized the bar was slightly, or was pretty good, and that's what I'm saying, like, it's a good gun. Like, now we get into this area of, like, what's the difference between a good gun or a gun that's too good? Like, I mean, really? Like, doesn't everybody in the game who's playing the game want to use a good gun? Like, don't you want to find a gun that works well for you and that suits your playstyle and that can actually kill people and let you have decent games? I mean, like, that's the whole point of the game. So where's the line between that and then, like, oh, this gun's overpowered? Like, where's the line? Because guess what? People using it don't think it's overpowered. It's only the people who are just dying a lot who think it's overpowered. So it's this really weird, like, it's a strange, it's sort of the way of the entire world in general these days. Like, there's this weird backwards logic that, like, oh, this gun's really good, it must be overpowered. Like, it's just a good gun. Like, there's no overpowered. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't unbeatable, and it wasn't like every single person in every single game was just rocking it. I just don't understand. So what happens is you say that, and then more people start using it because they're like, oh man, it's overpowered, I gotta start using it. And then it really becomes to the point where the developers are like, okay, well, on our end, we see that, you know, 25% of all deaths in the game are coming from BARs, and when there's grenades and, you know, 16 other weapons or whatever else you can use, like, that's a little much, so maybe we should nerf it. And then they nerf it, which gives the gun notoriety as being overpowered, which then means that more people jump on the bandwagon and start using it even after they nerfed it, because everybody's using it who was already using it. A lot of people don't know it's nerfed, and then the people who knew it was nerfed then jumped on to see how bad they nerfed it. So then on the back end, they're like, oh my goodness, now 35% of all the deaths in the game are coming from the BAR. Maybe we have to nerf it again. Let's wait and see. And then everyone complains, and it's just weird cycle, and they can never get out of it. And actually, during Call of Duty World at War, there was massive complaints. Actually, even in Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare in 2007, 2008, there was a lot of complaints that the M16 was overpowered. Lots of complaints that the M16 was overpowered, and then World at War came out, and everyone complained that the MP40 was overpowered, and they complained the whole time, and nothing was ever really done about it. And in Modern Warfare 2, I'm sure there were complaints that stuff was overpowered, but you didn't really hear it as much in that one. So let's fast forward to Black Ops 1, which followed up Modern Warfare 2. That was the game where this whole slippery slope started. And it pains me to say that it was actually Treyarch who started this trend, who they're by far my favorite developer of Call of Duty. Not like I don't like this game. This game's absolutely awesome. I just dropped a fat F-bomb. The game's awesome. That's how much I love this game. It's awesome. But Black Ops 1, the same thing happened, but it was the FAMAS in that game. And then people really complained, and then it got nerfed. And that started the beginning, because they had never done that before, and they nerfed the gun, and then after that, they nerfed other guns. They nerfed the, they nerfed other guns in that game. Oh, no, you know what? It was not the FAMAS, it was the AK-74U. People were using it with grip and rapid fire, I believe. And it was just decimating people. So then the FAMAS came next, because the FAMAS was overpowered. And I remember specifically, you could check in that game your deaths by a certain gun. So there was a tab in your combat record where you could go over and see how many times you were killed by each gun. And it was the AK-74U always. And then they nerfed it, and then it switched to the FAMAS. And then they nerfed that, and then it switched to the Galil. So it was just like this weird, it's like a game of catch-up. And the thing for me is, once you nerf a gun, then people complain about another gun, because they know they can get it nerfed. And then you nerf that, and then they complain about another gun, and then you nerf that. And then basically what happens is you go through all the guns, and then all the guns are nerfed. So all the guns started at 8s, and then you nerf them all by 10%, and then now they're all 7s. So now we're in the exact same position we were before, is that the bar is going to be slightly better than all the other rifles. So it's like, it's this dumb thing. It's just this incredibly dumb exercise. It's like this thing that they do to satisfy the community, because the community is so, like, just ridiculous and ADHD, and as soon as they get killed 3 times by the same gun in the game, they just quit and stop playing, and then they, go online and complain about how terrible the game is. It's just dumb stuff. So I don't even know how I got talking about this for 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Like, that's pretty ridiculous, but hey, I gotta blow some kind of hot air while you're watching this gameplay, right? So, anyway, yeah, but, like I said, these were the first 3 games I played in that. I really haven't played much of the game. I've played, I think maybe total between this and Forza, I'm really only playing about, like, 20 to 25 hours a week, which is really not that much. I've been spending a lot more time editing and doing stuff like that, because that's, I'm not gonna say that's more important to me, but that's kind of the thing that I've been doing recently, and I'm not feeling like I'm lacking for playing. In the past, I definitely would have not been satisfied playing 20 or 25 hours a week, but now it's about as much as I can do. Haven't slept that well either, because I haven't been managing my time very well. Between work and this, it's a lot of stuff, and I've never been great at time management, so that's just one of those things. So now it's sacrificing my hours of sleep, so I feel like crap, and then I come home and I end up sleeping for like 2 hours, and then I get up and I'm like, oh, gotta edit my video, and then I gotta record a video and edit and do all that stuff. So I haven't really been playing as much, but like I said, it's not like the end of the world. I haven't, it makes the game more enjoyable when I do play it, and like I said, these were my first 3 games of the day, so it was great to get on and play and actually have some success. There were slower games. It wasn't like I was dominating. It wasn't like I was going like, 25 and 10 or anything. I just was having some decent games and going, 2.0. And I think I've decided that I like sniping. It's really fun, and not the variety of sniping that I was doing before in Modern Warfare Remastered, which was kind of like, I wouldn't call it quick-scoping, but it was more like an active type sniping. This is more of like a hangout and lock down an area type sniping, which I much prefer. I mean, this is basically real sniping is what this is. And you'll actually see a good couple kills here. So that was good, and then this guy right in the shoulder. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm trying to get to rank 4, because once you get to rank 4, well, I am rank 4, but once you complete rank 4, you can prestige your division, and then I have access to the Car 98, which I'll have to say, I see everybody using it, so for that reason, I don't want to be the one to go out there and use it, but whenever I've picked it up, it's ridiculous. Like, there's a slight delay in all these other snipers from the time you squeeze the trigger to the time they die. I mean, nothing more than like a half a second or a third of a second or whatever, but there's this slight delay where you squeeze the trigger and the gun sort of like, you can sort of hear the like, and then they get hit. Whereas with the Car 98, like as soon as you squeeze the trigger, they're pretty much already hit, like as you're hearing the gun sound. So instead of like a and then a hit, it's like and hit at the same time. I know that didn't sound any different to you guys. Yeah. But you squeeze the trigger, and it's pretty much an immediate hit. Like, we're talking maybe a quarter of a second instead of a half a second. So it feels much, much faster, which is why you see a lot more people using it. It's really good. And, I mean, most people use it, realize that. They can't put words to it like that, but they can understand that when they use it, they do a little bit better. And, so that's why I'll be using it when I get it. But the silent movement, though, that you get with that mountain class,
which is the sniper class. At the level 4, you get mountain movement, and it is ridiculous. It's so quiet. Like, oh man, it blew my mind when I played the first game. Like, we were playing Gustav Cannon, and I was running around, and I just, like, the silence of the game was sort of oppressive. Like, I just thought, like, man, what is going on? Like, this is just... And then I realized, oh, I don't hear my own footsteps. So that's really good. I can't wait to get back to level 4 with that. Of course, once I prestige, I lose that, so I'll have to earn it back. And it's taken me a while to earn it. I mean, I've been sniping for a while. Probably, like, I'd say maybe, like, a week and a half. It's taken me to get up there, because I don't snipe... You know, I only snipe on really, like, 2 maps, like Gustav Cannon, and then I've started doing it on the USS Texas. But all in all, I'm just really impressed that they continue to roll out updates with the game. It's so funny how I play the game and I have a negative night and then I'm all negative on it, and then I play it and have a decent night and I'm positive on it. But I'm really impressed with how many updates they've had and the fact that they keep rolling them out like that. As I said in the previous video, like, due to the sheer number of people that are playing the game on launch day, just on launch day, within like the first, you know, probably 12 or 24 hours, that was kind of a cool kill. Just within the 12 or 24 hours of the game's release, the amount of hours that get played on the game is, you know, 10 times what they could have tested. So, you know, obviously they're going to discover glitches and little, you know, tricks and stuff. And also, again, the mindset of a QA, quality assurance tester, is to test the game out and make sure there's no bugs. The mindset of a Call of Duty player is to screw around and find the best glitches and or find the best, you know, spots to jump out of maps and or, you know, find the best overpowered weapons, kind of a thing. And so that contributes to why these issues are found early. And there's really no way to avoid that, given the sheer amount of people that play these games on a launch day. There's no way to avoid those type of issues. And that's why companies release them like they do, because they know that. They know that even if they delayed the game a year for quality assurance testing, they still wouldn't be able to get out all the glitches. So they release it and address it quickly, and that helps them. It actually, you know, it saves them a bunch of money probably, but it helps them a lot to be able to do that. So, you know, of course there's going to be glitches, but I'm really impressed with these guys at Sledgehammer and how quickly they've updated the game and how many patches they've rolled out. I mean, there have been several big updates already, which is a really good thing. And then there have been a bunch of smaller updates, I'm sure, and I'm sure they're doing some stuff on their back end. I'm still really upset about the fact that you can't go into the headquarters in between games. That's just absolutely infuriating. And it's causing lobbies to collapse because everyone who's played the game for several weeks is used to being able to go into the headquarters, hop in there, pick up some contracts, and, you know, do whatever. For me, it's like my ritual after every game. I run in there, and usually I'll jump up by the flak 88 cannon and pick up the you know, the ball and throw it at somebody, usually the quartermaster. But I mean, that was sick. He must have already been damaged, or that registered as like a hit in the back. I think it registers a hit in the back, actually. Or maybe a hit in the head. Maybe if you just hit him in the head, that counts. I haven't actually tested that, because that showed a little like head symbol in the corner, almost like a headshot, but like a blow to the head. So I wonder if you could hit him in the head. That's interesting. I might have to look into that. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, because of the fact that everyone's so used to that, running into the headquarters, pick up contracts, and do all that kind of stuff, it's infuriating because you're sitting in a game, and first of all, if you choose to leave, if you choose to go into the headquarters, you have to pick headquarters, and then it finds a match and searches for a match, just like it would for a game. So it takes you a loading screen, and then a couple seconds later, it takes you to a second loading screen where you sit for 10 seconds, and then it loads you into the headquarters. And then you can go and do all your stuff, and then when you want to go back into a match, you have to search for a match again. So what's happening is after every single game, you're losing like half the players because people are trying to go into the headquarters. And even though it gives you a little thing that says, do you want to leave the game and go to the headquarters, I'm sure people don't think about that. And they're just like, yeah. And so it keeps crashing the games because there's 12 people when you finish the game, and then you come back to the lobby, and then all of a sudden there's 5 people, and then you just sit there. So that's still really frustrating. I really hope they address that and fix it so it goes back to the way it used to be. Now, if you want to go into a populated headquarters, I get that. You have to search for the match. But what I'm saying is, in between games, you've always been able to go into a headquarters just by yourself and at least turn in contracts and stuff. And I really feel like you should be able to do that. I really feel like they should bring that back because it's a real disgrace
and a real bother to have to continue to do that, especially since some of these contracts you can pick up all the time. You can pick up these contracts, you know, multiple times a night. So when you're in a good lobby, you don't want to get out of there, but then again, you don't want to waste it and not go for contracts. So it's just it's not the best. But hey, that's okay. Every other part of the game is great so far. They've addressed the issues. Played all night tonight with a friend, Record by Fud. He's in this game. You just saw him get a death right there. He does that a lot. He dies a ton. That's a joke. He's way better than I am. But we didn't have any issues tonight, so he didn't get kicked. He was able to access all the leaderboard stuff and create a class stuff, and able to do all that between matches, able to see the after action report, all that good stuff. And yeah, really not any issues tonight other than, you know, we weren't doing so hot. We were playing and I was just talking a lot, and I ended up just kind of ruining it for us. But yeah, so loving the game, still enjoying playing it. I hope you guys are still enjoying the content as much as I'm enjoying playing it. So if you like my content, if you like my stuff and you do not find me annoying, then go ahead and subscribe. Or you know what, even if you do find me annoying, go ahead and subscribe also. I appreciate it either way. And check back soon for another video. Plenty of other videos on my channel if you want to check those out. There's over 200. There's almost 250 videos at this point, dating back a while. So some of those are older videos. But plenty of Call of Duty videos, plenty of Forza 7 videos in 4K over the last couple weeks. So make sure you check those out. And I hope I see you guys back here soon. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.